Welcome to Real Talk with your host, Dr. Valencia Campbell, on the Big Talker 1580.
Hello, and welcome to Real Talk. I'm Dr. Valencia Campbell, and I'm your host. Real Talk is a weekly radio show designed to address some of the most challenging issues confronting our community, including substance abuse and treatment, finding mentors, the real story about getting into law school or medical school, personal experiences with trying to get a criminal pardon, and so forth. Today's topic is police discretion, the decision to warn versus arrest. Officer Lord and Officer Knight are my guests today. Welcome, Officer Lord and Officer Knight. Let us begin by asking Officer Lord to tell us a little bit about himself.
Hi, good morning. This is Officer Lord. Joined the police department in 2005. I've been on 5 going on 6 years. I'm currently assigned to the traffic enforcement unit. Past almost a year or so. Prior to that, it worked out of District 2, the Bowie Station.
Okay, and Officer Knight.
Good morning. I'm Corporal Knight. I've been on the department for 18 years. I spent 17 years out of District 4 Oxon Hill Station. 5 of those years was as a traffic enforcement officer, and then last year I've been with the traffic enforcement unit.
Well, why don't we start by asking each of you to tell us how you became interested in working for the police department?
As far as my interest grew, when I was younger, the police academy wasn't that far off from where my parents lived. So almost every morning, I guess, you see the entire group of people training, the police cars and driving by, and that kind of brought about the attention for me that kind of got me interested and excited in it. And then also the traffic stops, most of the times where we first are introduced to police officers as a whole, if you're not a victim of a crime. And then it pretty much went from there.
Well, Officer Lord, thanks for sharing that. I'm glad you weren't one of the youth that were afraid of the police. What about you, Officer Knight?
I had always been interested in being a police officer since I was a kid. It's just something that sparked my interest as a teenager, and it just came on into my adult life. I was actually in the military and wanted to be a police officer. And the opportunity finally came to me one day when I was interviewed by some police officer recruits, and went from there.
Did you have any family members that were police officers?
No, I did not.
Okay. Well, tell us a little bit about the types of incidents where you've had to issue a warning to juveniles. Since we're here talking about police discretion, the decision to warn versus arrest.
All right. For the most part, a lot of our interactions with the juveniles starts mostly with loitering, which leads to other things. But for the most part, once we come in contact, because a call was generated to speak to the juveniles, if you see them loitering or hanging out, you try to give them some advice to move on, either to go home if it's after hours, or if they're in a violation of not being in school, we'll take them back to the school for the most part, just give them a warning at that point in time. However, if there's any type of rudeness or any type of issues that presents itself where they don't want to listen or what have you, you're kind of sort of forced to then make a decision where you can no longer necessarily provide, a friendly suggestion. And from that point, you would have to take action because we're supposed to keep that balance in our communities where the public can feel safe.
So parents that are listening, please talk to your children about this. It's really important that some of the things they might do and say at home and they might be able to get away with, Officer Lloyd is sharing that may not necessarily be the case if they are rude or what have you. What about the situation with adults in terms of issuing a warning?
Well, a lot of times we encounter adults like drinking in public, being disorderly, in public and so forth and so forth. A lot of times, there's a police officer discretion here. A lot of times, we'll give them warnings about drinking in public or being disorderly and being rude in public places and stuff like that. However, if they continue to be disorderly or rude or whatever, then we'll take the next actions and do a full custody arrest on them.
And that is exactly what's leading to my next question about what types of behavior lead to arrests. And we're talking about, you just mentioned the drinking. What about for youth, the allowed party?
Well, when it comes to juveniles and loud parties, if we get a call to go to a house where there's a loud party and it's just juveniles, no parents there, we will talk to the juvenile who are responsible at the house and inform them that they need to turn the music down, stop whatever bad conduct, disorderly conduct is there, and so forth, and just issue them a warning about that. However, if they don't heed to that warning, then we probably will arrest them.
Okay, and we're going to talk a little bit more about the arrest a little later. Let me ask, if a person is pulled over, for example, and they take off, and this may be the case not so much with adults, but maybe with young people who just gotten their license and don't want their parents to know that they were stopped by the police. What's likely to happen to them there?
Well, if we stop a juvenile and we walk up there and they the driver and they take off on us, and that's a serious offense right there. We take that serious. If we catch them, what we do is we actually will take and arrest them, because that's a serious offense when you flee, and it's like fleeing the scene.
Okay.
And you can't do that. And typically we'll take and arrest them and charge them.
And they would be charged with?
Well, they'd be charged with fleeing and looting, whatever other incident they were previously stopped for, whether it was for speeding, maybe they didn't have a driver's license, and things like that.
And I'm guessing then if any type of cursing or you feel that alcohol is involved, then that could increase the type of situation where you may have to include more offenses.
Absolutely. Juveniles are not supposed to have alcohol in their system, period. Underage drinking. So if they suspected of driving under influence, then they get charged with driving under influence just like an adult will. However, the procedure is a little bit different, but they will be arrested for it.
Okay. What behaviors have you found to be most problematic for you among the young people, aside from some of the things that we've mentioned already? And when you share with our listeners, let us know if there seems to be a difference by whether it's a male or a female or some other type of demographic.
For the most part, what we normally would see is it is for the most part is loitering. A lot of kids like to skip school for whatever the reasons it may be, to hang out with their friends or what have you, or in the evening hours, kind of hang out on the street corner when the lights go out. A lot of our initial contact with the juveniles are generated because of complaints. A lot of the neighborhoods, the community, they're not tolerating it anymore. So they're starting to pick up the phone and they're starting to complain, and we highly encourage that. The interaction or the partnership or the trust within the community and the police department, so we can help to prevent the crime. For the most part, though, I would say is that when the officers them approach the juveniles, a lot of them, they're under the impression as though because they're a juvenile, they're not going to be held accountable for their actions. And there's not really going to be any big consequences, because at the end of the day, maybe the parents may come pick them up from the processing center, and then, if it's kind of lax at home, they really don't worry about it. It actually affects the parents a lot more, because if they go through the entire process and they go through the juvenile courts, a lot of times the parents are held financially responsible for paying whatever legal bills it might be, or if there's any, restitution for any damage of property or what have you, that was caused from the initial incident.
I wanted to also ask about a situation where you may have a caller, like you said, the lottery, and what would happen if they appear to be under the influence of drugs?
As Officer Knight did say, regardless whether you're driving or you're out walking in the street, especially for juveniles, it's illegal for them to be drunk in public or possess or consume any type of alcoholic beverage. And they are legal charges as far as we can file as the police department against the juveniles or even adults for being drunk out in public.
So they would be arrested if you both suspected. I'm talking here with Officer Lord and Officer Knight of the Prince George's County Police Department. If you suspected that they were using, whether it was marijuana or something else,
Yes.
it would not be just taken home.
Well, a lot of the time we try to get in contact with the parents, and especially with the juveniles. Once we come in contact with them and we get all their information, and if it is for marijuana use or open alcohol, we definitely get in contact with the parents to make the parents aware of the situations that are going on. So that way, the parents are held responsible or accountable for making sure that the children do the right thing. Because ultimately, it all falls back on the parents. We're here to provide a service to the community to help to keep the community safe and help people not to make bad choices. But I would say ultimately it falls back on the parents in the household and the way they raise their children. But it's our discretion to give a warning or to actually make a full custody arrest. And it just depends on the totality of the entire incident. But for the most part, as far as illegal paraphernalia, drugs, and what have you, in those situations that the children or the adults may put themselves into, we will actually have to follow the law and make the arrest.
Okay, so, and that's for our juveniles, and they're being defined as under 18 years of age.
Yes, ma'am.
And what's the situation if they're 19?
Well, once you hit the age of 18, you're not considered a juvenile anymore. You're considered an adult. So you're in a whole different ballgame there. We make full custody arrest, and we charge them and process them, take them to a commissioner, and present them to the commissioner with those charges.
So this, and I hope my listeners will be conveying this and sharing this with, even if they don't have children, other young people that they know, because I know 19 and the 20s, young people are beginning to be on their own and make their decisions. And we have the officers here today to make sure that they're making good decisions and not getting involved in behavior that could have some serious consequences for them. You are listening to Real Talk with host Dr. Valencia Campbell. Now, if you would like to get involved with a local chapter that is committed to helping our youth excel in school and stay away from criminal activity and not become a dropout statistics, email the Prince George's County Drug Policy Coalition at pgcdpc@hotmail.com. You can also visit their website at www.pgcdpc.com. The group would love to have you support their Speakers Bureau or help with a mentoring program. I'm back now.